Welcome back to the podcast. We're here. We're doing it.
Yeah.
It's very early for Jan and it's in the middle of the day for me, but like an old man, I need to take an afternoon nap.
And I'm early bird somehow. I don't know. It's the 6 a.m. club now, and outside. Do you hear the German police?
I No, I don't hear them,
No,
but do you
it's
know what
fading
they're
away.
looking
Okay,
for?
cool.
Okay. Are they still trying to find that lion that got loose?
Well, I think everybody said now it's a wild pig.
Yeah.
It was a wild pig.
Oh,
It,
so not a lion, it was just a pig the whole time.
it was a pig the whole time.
It's pretty crazy to go from a lion, like a big cat, to a
Yeah,
pig. Like,
yeah. And it's so strange how this developed or got how it developed because at the very beginning there was I think it was a man who said, "Listen, if we talk about a lion or like something like a big head, they do shit, and we can exactly know what the shit looks like, and we don't find that shit there. So maybe it's not a lion, you know." And everybody was like, "No, you see this with the back." This is like really German style, you know. Everybody has an opinion and everybody knows it better.
I
And then at
loved
the end of the
how.
day,
Sorry, continue.
no, at the end of the day, you know, it's just something normal, and it was just like making panic right now. You know, that's like the
Yeah,
thing. I think.
I loved how people were assembling like little Avengers groups and trying to be like, we're going to hunt down the lion. And it's
Yeah,
one of those masculine things where they can fight animals. I'm not sure if you have any friends who are like, I can fight a wolf, I can fight a hyena, I can fight a lion, I can fight a tiger. You can't fight any of
it's
them.
no, you can't. It's not so popular here. It's we do have you know, this issue with weapons, and then you know hunting is kind of in Germany. You know, we don't hunt so much anymore. You know.
When you say weapons, are you talking about like guns or swords or like all of it?
I don't know when the law they after the Second World War, Germans were not allowed to have to carry around knives which were longer than a kitchen knife.
Okay.
And then they said after that they said the the holding stuff, you cannot put your knife into the how do you say it, where you hold on to it,
The handle.
the handle, yeah, something like this, you know. And so they're like really strict laws, you know. And guns is like really far, you know. You can that's
Yeah.
that's only a percentage, but we find more and more. Especially we have, I don't know if you guys heard about the Reichsbürger. These are like back to the German Reich, you know, from Adolf Hitler. He wanted to make the Third Reich,
Yep.
and we have basically people who want to go back there, and then they were observing some guys because they wanted to enter the Bundestag, you know, to with like being criminal, like with aggressive and guns and stuff like that. And then they discovered, oh, okay, these people, it's like not one person with one gun, it's like one person with 100 guns suddenly, you know, or like 50 guns and ammunition and everything. So it's like kind of, you know, if you have something, you know, you never have like only one gun, I assume, you know. But usually you have only the possibility to get a license when you're in a club, in a gun club,
Yeah.
shooting club.
I think something similar in Australia. We had it's what's known as the Port Arthur massacre, which was
Yeah.
this shooting event that was really terrible. And from that moment, they were just like, guns banned. The government will buy all of your weapons from you, and that's it. You know, very quickly gone. And
Yeah.
then New Zealand did something similar when the Christchurch incident happened, and it's like it's that easy
Yeah,
to get rid of
exactly.
guns. Like,
If you, exactly, you are frozen on my side.
oh
The
really?
picture is frozen. Yeah.
I'm still moving. You're still fine there.
Okay.
It's more important that I'm not frozen and you're not frozen on my side because I record the call. So
You're recording your
yeah,
screen. Perfect.
so
Okay,
that's
great.
that's all good. Anyway, Jan told me over a message not too long ago that he wants to become an influencer. So what inspired this? Let's workshop this idea. Why do you want to be an influencer?
Because I think in the internet is if you want to make easy money, you can be an influencer, and it's very quick. You get a millionaire by being an influencer, and not having a job right now, I thought it's very easy to become an influencer and get rich this way.
Well, the first thing I would recommend is making a YouTube channel like I have that uses automated AI services to get shit tons of views. You can watch that video on this channel, by the way. A little plug. And so that's how you can start that off. But we're going to actually not do that. We're going to make Jan himself the person, the celebrity, the influencer, the guy. And I was thinking about this when he sent the message. And there's so many different avenues that you can go into. But I guess a good place to start is what type of content do you like online currently? Like what excites you?
Yeah, it's for example, it's stand-up comedy, it's football, it's and then it's what I watch a lot is the U.S. police, mainly state trooper and policemen, um, taking over or stopping cars randomly, and then arresting people because, like, for example, I saw a clip, where a man got out of the gas station and wanted to walk to his car, and then the cop said, yeah, we're looking for you, blah blah blah, and you did this and that, and he said, no, I was just paying my gas inside the store, and they just handcuffed him and stuff like that.
Okay.
These
You've
things
you've
are
already answered the
interesting.
question. You're going to become a React channel where you watch these police videos and you're going to talk about the context and then you're going to say what's going on and what's happening.
Okay, I understand, but I don't like these things. For example, this other topic was Oliver Anthony, the viral hit in the US, the beard guy,
Yep.
and it started. I was funny. I was really at the starting point because I heard this music, and then 2 days later, I saw on my feed all kinds of those people, where they have a split screen, and then they say, okay, this Oliver Anthony guy, look at him and let's listen to him, and the first line, and then the guy who's listening to it was like, oh, yeah, stuff like that. I hate this. And they were like this, I would say, maybe 18-year-old girl, and with her boyfriend, and she took pictures of herself, and I like this kind of. I want to be this, standing somewhere and taking pictures and try to be famous this way. Is this possible?
Potentially. Well, the first thing's you're good looking, so doing something where you can be ugly isn't gonna work out because I wouldn't recommend Twitch streaming or anything like that because you're too pretty and you'll distract. If you're playing a video game, you'll distract from the actual gameplay itself. You can't be too good looking as a streamer because then it's like, hold on, what's going on? You can be funny. You've
Really?
got that, yeah. I think that at least. I think if you've got too much, like, because for women at least, like if you're really really good looking and you're really into games and nerdy stuff, all the nerdy guys are just gonna pile on top of you, and they'll flock to your live streams like crazy. Valkyrie, Pokimane.
Just because of my looks?
Yeah, looks go a really long way. Like, I'm also too good looking to do ugly person stuff. That's such a terrible thing to say. Okay. I think, though, because you're very forward thinking and you're wanting to adapt a lot to modern technologies and what's going on. And so what we need to find you is a genre full of young people doing something. You're not young. And you jump in and you bring your own takes. You look a little bit different. You bring a new perspective. You're not American either. So you've got a very enticing and appealing quality to you, but you have to use those as a juxtaposition to what's normal within that genre. Does that make sense to what I'm saying?
Um, say it again because I didn't get all the words.
Your features and your personality need to be
Yeah.
used in in contrast to what is
Okay. Contrast.
normal
Yeah.
in a genre. So if it's a bunch of young people like me talking about football or police videos and stuff like that, and it's Matthew, Mike, Luke, John, and they all look like me, white guys with different haircuts and stuff like that. And then you come in a bit older, German accent, all that sort of stuff. You're different enough and appealing there to then bring in a new audience and demographic. Does that make sense? Like,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that it's that easy. Because I was thinking, this stand-up comedian Matt Rifle.
Matt Rife, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we have the same body, pretty much.
yeah,
And he's a really, really good-looking man, I think.
he's
And he
perfect,
was
isn't
really
he?
successful. And I heard, I'm not on OnlyFans, but he makes comedy at OnlyFans too. So I thought OnlyFans is just about like being sexy and good-looking and stuff, you know. But okay, it makes completely sense what you said. But then my question is, who defines then really what's good looking? And don't you think that is the pyramid of people who are good looking is like here pretty small, and the ugly people is the majority of us humans more ugly then?
Um, I'm not too sure, but I would say what's really helped with Matt Rife's success is the fact that he is so good looking compared to a bunch of other comedians. And this is not to say that a lot of comedians are bad looking or anything like that. There's lots of handsome and pretty comedians and stuff like that. But Matt Rife has, leading man A-list good looks. It's like Ashton Kutcher back in the day, or Brad Pitt, that type of level of thing, which you just never see in stand-up comedy. But beyond that, he's also funny. So he
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah, yeah,
fits
yeah.
in to the comedy group and he's all these additional things. And so he actually can bring recurring audiences.
And his topic is pretty much always dating, fucking, sex,
Going to the gym.
relationship, going to the gym and stuff like that, and I think this is his because he is like that, and I think he said once, this look doesn't help him being a comedian, because he is then put into this genre, into this drawer where he sits at this young dude, good looking dude, and this limits us a lot,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah.
Like in society, and he's playing with this on a pretty smart way, I think,
Well, that's the really
and
tricky thing for women comedians as well. Imagine being a beautiful woman and going up and trying to make jokes and, the whole time it's like, people can barely pay attention to your comedy because they keep looking at you and stuff like that. And, I've heard different women talk about it, so I can only imagine what it's like there. But that is interesting. I should look more into Matt Rife and
yeah,
what
because
he
he
has to
said
say
one
about that.
thing I saw one thing where he said, to this, because he has, I think, 80% are women in his shows, I would assume, and
And
he was
mums.
talking to one, and moms, yeah, yeah, and moms, and really good looking moms,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But he was once, he said once on a show, um, uh, girl, my eyes are here. Look at here, my eyes. Because she was staring at his breasts. And usually, this is what men are doing with women. In general. But when you say the looks are more distracting to people than the content, and this is a very, very low entry point for us in society, when you say, when we say, you are maybe too good looking, you got to be more like the general thing, but and good looks are distracting us, sh- in the Western society, I think we have to overcome this a little, because
Yeah,
it is just because I'm teaching my kids, it's not about the hairstyle and the looks, it's about what you have inside, and not outside the head. And
totally.
I think
Yeah.
this is much more important. And but on the other hand, we are all humans, and I think this is maybe just a part of it, and it's sometimes me being a 49-year-old dad, of course, says it's more about the looks. Me being 29, 20 years back, when I was 29, sometimes on a Friday night, on a different night when you had some drinks, the inside doesn't matter at all. It's just the outside.
Yeah, yeah. I think that whole looks in society thing is very interesting. And when you combine it all, the Hollywood and Californication of it
Yeah,
all is just
thank,
like the worst part of it. And the fact that it's like movie
exactly,
stars
exactly,
and the actual people who are on top are this level of good looking. But then again, if
exactly.
you whether you consider any of the Kardashians good looking, the fact that they've managed to stay relevant for decades and decades is actually credit to how intelligent they actually are. You can't be that
Yeah,
dumb. You can't be good looking and ditzy and whatnot and not have strategy and stuff like that. And who knows? Each of them have like 4 people that manages their money and then 10 people that manages their style and their appearance and stuff like that.
yeah.
And they're pretty good friends with the lipo guy who does all of their plastic surgery and that sorts of
Ah, okay, yeah.
that sorts
Yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff. But
But
yeah,
then going,
combine your looks and your skills.
yeah, okay, because that's going back, exactly, because then, I I have to then I have to define my target group, because for a 20-year-old boy or man or LGBT plus people, maybe I'm then, not good looking, you know. Maybe I'm more for the 65 plus women than good looking, because I'm 20 of 10 years younger than them.
Yeah, perhaps. Or maybe young girls with a dad fetish.
Okay. Okay, and then but then going back to the content, if I define my target group and say, okay, maybe I'm not so much, the majority is like either my age or a little like 5 years younger, but plus my age 10 years, so I shall talk about a no, I'm frozen on my side too. And maybe I shall then have content talking which is interesting for them. Isn't that the point? Or doesn't matter because I'm just good looking and they tune in because he's so hot, he's talking about coffee, but it doesn't matter as soon as he goes like this, and stuff like this. Is this the thing?
Well, if you're looking to be an influencer and someone on social media, I don't think too many people in this 65 plus age range are using it. So
True, fair.
if your target audience is that, maybe you should go look at broadcast television or daytime or something like that.
I have
Um,
to become an anchorman.
One thing
uh,
though that I don't see too much of it. It's more of like people on Instagram selling ads for it, but the business side of media is not a very common and popular thing I see. There's a lot of people like here are creative techniques, but we don't get. I don't see a lot of content of it, and I think if someone was really good at it, they could totally take over and catapult it. Where they talk about the business side of media, like how to be a freelancer, how to charge for your services, how to do this, how to do that. And what you could do is set up consulting calls where you say to the person you're consulting, hey, I'm going to reduce your fee, but I'm going to record it and I'm going to blur out your details and stuff like that. And we're going to talk about what you can offer in freelancing, and then you give advice. And so then your audience on YouTube or Patreon or whatever then sees it and then goes, oh, I could take this advice when I go into creative things. Like we've talked about this before, potentially on the podcast, but privately we definitely have, where as a freelancer, do you charge per hour or do you charge a bundle rate? So I could charge for 8 hours, $50 per hour, which then gets me $400, or I could charge a half day being $400, which includes 4 hours on set and 4 hours of editing time. You know, what do you do for that? And the advice is you do a bundle rate, because then you can stay a little bit longer if you need to, and they don't need to think about your hour and cutting you off and stuff like that. So I think with all of your experience, there's a potential media business influencer idea there. Maybe we should stop recording and delete this from the podcast. It's too good of an idea.
Why not? Why not? I mean, if we have, then it's like, if one stand-up comedy person gets up on linked on YouTube, all the others will follow, and then the competition starts. So why not do this? Try to set up this and try to find an audience for, and then coming to the next one for artificial intelligence helping us promoting this content with this person,
Yeah, totally.
Is this something we shall look into it? Because I think there's a big part of the kids or the young adults or like mid-20 people who say, okay, yeah, let's have this, and I coming back to your thing, passive income, is this possible? Then let's try that.
Yeah. Yeah, we can look into developing that, absolutely, for sure. But we'd have to go a bit full tilt into marketing, and you probably wouldn't have to have any of your kids walking in on frame every now and then. I'm probably going to have to blur them out and keyframe it. So shit, that's going to be a lot of editing. Yeah. The trick when you mention AI, I think if you're going to produce content about AI, that's a high risk, just because it's one of the most popular topics and trending topics out there, and it's very saturated, and I think it's very hard to get into already, if you know what I'm talking about. Like there's already so many people making content around AI out there
Okay,
that's
yeah.
going into AI saturated.
Sure,
I've got to be careful with the words I use. Remember, English is a second language.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is that
and it's like the Wild West, and
yeah,
like,
thank you,
yeah,
Wild West.
it's all. And what I meant by that when I initially said it's just chaos at the moment. There's no legislation, there's no legality. There's been only one past court case about copyright with AI, and the judge said that has to have a human element in copyright. And so that was in the favor of using AI art in creation and publication. So we're still experimenting and testing. And we were having these conversations in December, November of last year. So it's been 9 months of this still being the case. And it's kind of bewildering how nothing has happened, but keep trying, keep having fun, and yeah.
And what about because while you were talking, I had an idea, because you mentioned the court case.
Yeah.
Is it then an idea to be me as an influencer trying to push this whole AI so far that someone has to say, stop it, this is too far? And then we create this whole content just about that, how to push something new too far, to make it understandable. As an example, back in the Wild West, is when they start digging for gold, everybody wants to do it, and then they pushed it too far because there was no gold then anymore in the rivers because tons of people came and tried to get this.
Yeah.
Then it was too far. But for the first people, it was the best thing, you know, because they had all these gold nuggets in the water, and they will go, you know, and then they had money, gold in their hand.
Well, with
And then,
okay, it's interesting what you're saying about that, and my thought is, are you someone with a technology background who's engaging with media, or someone with a media background engaging with technology? Because the tricky thing there is learning about AI like technologies requires a lot of understanding of programming and coding and stuff like that. And if you want to say push yourself to this level, like going back to the YouTube channel I made, I called it automated, and you know that AI did everything. It didn't. I still had to pass over stuff. I'm sure there's ways to program scripts to interpret files from different locations and upload it themselves and that type of thing. And so it actually could be completely automatic if I invested enough time, but I would have to teach myself how to code. So if you want to become an influencer where you push AI to its limits, you may have to learn some coding. And
I understand, but
maybe I
then let's
misheard you.
push it
Yeah.
because we push the AI now. So isn't it possible to get the AI being the coding expert in this whole experiment? You know, you
Um.
have the if you are the producer, you know,
Okay.
and you say, okay, I this you are the organizing, the producer, the owner of everything.
Sure.
Then you have this face of me from me. You have the knowledge of me, and then the third part is missing. Is about this whole coding, technology, software, hardware part. And can we take this from AI already? Because then we put a spotlight on it too, saying, it's for example, we find out it's way far already, you know, like Elon Musk said, you know, this will damage the whole society of humans and blah blah blah. Or is this when we put a spotlight in, we say, oh, this is a baby step, you know, this is a baby who's just laying on the back and crying, you know, because it's nothing, because I have to do everything, or the producer has to do everything, and I'm just a look, you know, in front of it, and have my
Yeah.
knowledge and be much smarter of this AI because of my experience. Because I am coming from media, working with the technology. The thing is that in media, in history, it was always the combined with technology. When we go back first, way back in history, there was the French Lumiere brothers who put this camera on. We talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had the kings and queens who said, "We have the money, and when we go out riding in the city, I want to have pictures of myself." You know, so they used that too. And
Yeah.
from that point, it's like it was always the same until now, where we are at the point where we say, okay, maybe the technology takes over and all this thing is gone, you know. And I want to be the influencer who's proving, yes, it's the way, and you
Yep.
fucked it
Okay.
all up. You don't need to be this, or right now it's not possible. And we give examples, and we're talking about facts here and not about feelings or opinions.
Do you
I'm
know?
getting on
Do
it
you know
now.
who Ben Shapiro is?
Sorry?
Ben Shapiro.
Ben
He's
Shapiro.
an
No.
online political commentary guy. He's a Jewish guy, and his one of his most famous quotes is, "Facts don't care about your feelings." Um, and he's got a very annoying voice, and a lot of people don't like him. But when you said
But he's famous.
he is famous, yeah. But when you said
Okay, cool.
facts don't care about, I don't care about your facts. It's so I don't care about your feelings. It's about the facts. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's Ben becoming Ben Shapiro for technology.
There you go. And
Yeah.
then, you know, I can talk normally and we go with AI, and because that's easy to pitch my voice then, always very annoying. Like this in the US, it's always the Karen. Do you know when they say, oh,
Yep.
there's
Yep.
another Karen? And it's always like, And to be honest, with my friends back in the 90s when we were going out and stuff, I was easy the stand-up comedian. I get a bucket hat on my head, and then I can talk shit the whole time. That's not the problem.
We've
And
mentioned it. Oh, sorry.
no, I'm done.
Okay, I got to stop interrupting you. We've talked about this a few times. Have you ever tried stand-up comedy?
This is my biggest wish. It's my biggest wish of all to do this. And funny thing, I'm just a lazy ass because here in Berlin we have the comedy club, and I know the guy who's doing the audio there. The system, and he's always traveling with the stand-up comedians with the audio system and stuff like that. So it would be very easy to get to connect with him and say, listen, and I did that, and he says yes, there's once a month or something like that open stage, and you can come up and then you will see, you get the reaction right away. But for me, one point, and this is what I was missing so far, is to have the energy to build a set, to
Okay.
make something. Because for me, and this is how and I think I said that on this podcast already, when you are a producer, on all stages of producing, it doesn't matter how low you start and how high you are at the end, it's always about selling something, and it's always easier to sell something when you know it exactly. And not if I have a little knowledge about that or experience, the people won't buy it so easy. So all I want to say is, if I have a set where what I have to write and learn, then I would be confident to get up on stage or in front of this camera and say, listen, this is my stand-up now. I'm absolutely sure, because I love being on the spotlight.
Yeah.
I'm getting really horny.
I think I've told you this, but I don't know if the audience knows, but I've done stand-up a couple times. The first time I did it wasn't... You didn't know this? Oh my God, how exciting. Okay, so the first time was an open mic at a nearby restaurant that's actually shutting down, which is really sad. But then this was pre-COVID, and I did it, and it sucked. I was so bad. I thought I was going to walk out and be like Dave Chappelle, but no, it was terrible. And then the next time I did it was like after COVID, and I think so. Yeah, after at least the first... Australia had 2 waves after the first wave, and I kind of lied and had said I'd done it more than I had, and so I got given 5 minutes, and that went really well. And then I did it again. That restaurant though was really popular for it, and comedians would just message in all the time. And I did one set with an Australian comedian called Tom Ballard. He was on the lineup after me. And another time I did it, another Australian comedian called Lewis Spears was the headliner. So I just shit talked and lied my way into saying that I've done this more than I have. And I did it 2 more times in a lineup. And yeah, it was good. It was fun. It's fucking scary, and you can feel your chest, your neck, just choke up, and it's all crazy. And I still like write down things that could be funny, but I haven't actually done stand up in quite a while. And I wanted to do it whilst living in Berlin, because when I got there, and as we said, there's actually quite a bit of a stand up scene in Berlin for English comedy. And in February, I think I messaged a few places, but I couldn't book a set anywhere. But part of me wants to do it again, but I don't know. I don't have anything funny enough, and I don't want to repeat material. Like, it was like one joke I had about an old coworker calling me 10% gay, and I had a threesome story that I would tell. Threesome. I'm not telling it. It's a joke. It's a bit. I might say it later.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering, but yeah, it's because over here, this what we have in Europe a lot is still the cabaret thing,
Yep.
and it's very political, and this stand-up comedy always comes in, Germans, we always have this finger up and stuff like that, and entertainment has to educate too, and then you talk, and then you see the Americans, and entertainment is just popcorn, and everybody has fun, and they forget about their bad feelings at home or whatever their problems, and but they get carried away for 60 or 90 minutes. That's what entertainment is all about, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not always about this, but me as a European German, I would say, it's always about this. Everybody loves to talk about the politics over here, and especially in comedy or cabaret or stand-up stuff. It's always like that. You always find Germans
Yeah.
who come into this.
Well, if you want to be a
Even
comedy influencer, you need to appeal to the American audience, and you need to talk about the American politics. And from a German perspective, you can be like that. And if you want to be, you can find creative ways to compare it back to World War II, and you'll get laughs.
Yes, exactly. That's the easy thing. But we can play about this because as a German, I have the ability. Everybody, even though it's not true, but they think the world thinks we are very good in technology somehow, and then everybody understands that the German book of humor is basically a one-pager. That's all, So we
Yep.
are not very funny and stuff like that, so we can play with this thing. Then as an influencer, like you said, I'm fucking good looking, I can play with this. I didn't say that, you said that, but and then we have this artificial intelligence thing, where, and it would be so funny to, do I forgot the name. There was at the beginning of YouTube, there was a girl, Lisa 18 or something like that. And there was a good looking girl, being 18, going always, I don't know what to do today and stuff like that. And, playing with her, and everybody was following her. And then suddenly it came out that this was all planned by a film production.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
It's like long ago. But anyways, what I want to say is, to create this whole fake could be another way to to give me the wrong voice, for example, or stuff like that. So always playing this, is this real or is this unreal? Because it's like the same with stand-up comedy. When we talked about the other day about Andrew Schulz. It's like, is this guy a fucking racist, or is this guy so open-minded, and just making fun about racism in order to show the mirror to them, to say, this is stupid what you guys do.
Yeah. He's our favorite German
level.
comedian.
Sorry?
He is our favorite German comedian, yeah.
Exactly. So maybe this is something where, as an influencer, because just I want to go back to our especially for the audience, to get back to the topic, is what's important to become a successful influencer, and not one of those guys, because and then it's another example, but I live in a place of Berlin, an area where a lot of well-known restaurants are, and especially, for example, breakfast restaurants. They open at 8 and they close at 4 p.m. They don't sell alcohol. The people are in line and waiting to eat scrambled eggs with avocado, tomato, and a piece of bread for 12 euros, which is a lot of money, I think. And they make pictures.
Yeah, 20 Australian bucks for breakfast. Get fucked.
Yeah, and this is working. And this doesn't stop. And there are so many people, I can tell, tourists coming to Berlin, seeing all our history and stuff, and the fat Germans, and then they come into those restaurants because they saw it online, following great food, blah blah blah, and then they come there. And it's good food. It's just it's in my blog. My wife said last week, because it was her last day of vacation, let's go and have breakfast there. I mean, we spent 4 people. 2 adults, 2 kids, $70.
Wait, 70 euros or
70. It was, to be honest, it was 68 plus. I gave
Okay.
them 7 euros tip. So we're talking about 75 euros for
God.
breakfast.
In Australian, that is fucking expensive. 120, I think. But my goodness, that's
Yeah,
that's so
and you
much.
know what? And you know what? We didn't sit an hour there. It was less than an hour. From 9 till, I mean, we left the place at 9:45 or something like that.
Well, was like the table nice? Was the interior nice? Was it a nice looking restaurant? Like
Yeah. It's like
good
it's
service?
very good service, very
Okay.
trendy. You if you I had to sit because they have benches and not chairs, So, and I get really my back pain when I sit on those benches. After 5 minutes my back hurts. So we took a bench where I could lean on the wall. So this was not a problem. But this. I think only 2 seats are like that. And then if it's full, my God, you can't talk. It's really loud. And this from 8 to, well, I'd say 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
found that in Barcelona. We went to a tapas restaurant and it was just loud discussion all the time. And I'm sitting there like, look, having a beer is great. These fried mushrooms are delicious. The tomato, the bread, this is all cool. But there's so much noise going on. This could not be my local spot just to go and
yeah,
have like a quick lunch or anything like that. So it's
exactly.
amazing that, you know, you talk about this breakfast place being absolutely packed and it's like fun to go every now and then. But as a regular spot, not possible, right? Like,
Not possible. No, for the locals, it's not possible.
yeah.
I would say, because first of all, you cannot go every day there because it's too for us it's too expensive. Put it this way, and then it's not very comfortable. The sound is too loud. You want to at least talk and stuff like that. Maybe I'm just like that because I mean the people are showing it's like every day super full,
Yeah.
super full.
Well, I'll compare
It,
this to Melbourne, and I know you haven't been, so you'll have to trust my word. But coffee culture here is huge. After World War II, one of our prime ministers basically said the quote "populate or perish," and between 1945 and 2010, 6.7 million people moved to Australia from overseas,
wow.
and a lot of that was Greek, Italian, Balkan sort of population type people. And from there, especially the Italian side of things, they bought their coffee culture. So
Yeah.
when Italians moved to America and introduced coffee, they Americanized it and turned it into a franchise. And that's why Starbucks is so massive and Dunkin' Donuts. But in Australia, franchises they didn't come around for a very long time. But especially when it came to coffee, it was local spots, family owned places. There's a few franchises that you can mention and stuff like that, like Axel, Four Beans, and whatnot in Melbourne. But mostly it is small establishments, and you have to nail the local audience and, get them involved before you can even think about getting influencers and anything else like that. You either have to brand for the influencers and get them over and do milkshakes with fairy floss and candy cane and all that shit coming out of the top of it, a 2-minute taxi ride to diabetes, or you've got to be cool, you've got to be the vibe, you've got to know that in the area I live at, it's a lot of old mums who take their kids to private school and then go to this cafe. And so that's what they're going to do. So you have to absolutely master. It's just so interesting to me hearing how breakfast places in Berlin, in your area, are all about, influencers and clicky and, the attention, and there's lines around the corner. But the focus in at least my area and lots of parts of Melbourne is the complete opposite of that. It's about appealing to the local family type vibe and your suburb, if you would.
Mhm.
And yeah, so
And I want to add one point from your to your list is that this place I was talking about is I can tell you the story how it started.
Sure.
It's not this it's not this place, but I live at Savignyplatz area. Savignyplatz area. So since Berlin was born, so to speak, was a very popular place. You know, because it's located next to Kurfürstendamm, and Savignyplatz was always more like by the richer people and by advocates. Do you say that? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Uh,
aristocrats.
aristocrats, thank you, and stuff like that. So, and in that area there was a tiny room, and I would say it's we're talking about a room like your room I see right now, you know, not bigger. And there was a guy opening up this stuff, you know, and he was selling coffee, he was selling juices, and he was selling bagels and cakes.
Yep.
Very Americanized. And his stepdad is a very well-known German actor, Jürgen Vogel.
Okay.
And this guy was sitting there once in a while. Everybody went there because it's good coffee, good bagels, really, really good, nice quality. And it started to come so big that the guy opened up. He doubled the room of his first venue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then he opened up directly at Savignyplatz, the second one. He opened up a bar at Savignyplatz. He opened up two other breakfast clubs.
Jesus.
So we're talking about 5 restaurants
The breakfast
out of
kingpin.
yes, out of one little store with a story that it looked all, you know, different. It handmade, you know. They didn't buy the chairs and tables. They make themselves by themselves. And you know, when you are renovating a house, you need a scaffolder. Is
Yep,
that
yep,
right?
yep,
And you walk on the scaffolder on wooden planks in Germany.
yep.
and
Same here.
and those wooden yeah, and those planks, those wooden stuff, he chopped up and he made tables and chairs out of it.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, so it looked very hands-on. And then there was this guy sitting there. Everybody knew, this is Jürgen Vogel, you know. And he sits there, you know, and no one really did know that that's his stepdad, you know. He didn't go out and say, my stepdad, stuff like that. He was not. He was located in him, you know. He was just kind of randomly there and having just a coffee. That's all, you know. And this is how it got really big, you
Wow.
know. And plus, he did this with, I don't know, maybe beginning of 20, you know, and then he attract all those beginning of 20 people, you know. And then, you know, nowadays, boom, 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 making pictures. I got the best coffee and avocado bread, boom, and then the other people are following, you know. So this is how it became, and this is how the food influencer, every food influencer is, if you go breakfast in Berlin, I bet everybody has a picture taken in his restaurant, you know.
Yeah, I think a lot of Australians as well have, we call it tall poppy syndrome. And do you know what a poppy flower is?
No.
Okay, it's a red flower and they're very tall, but they're kind of, the whole point of poppies, they look really nice when they're all flat. So what happens when a tall poppy is on growing above? You have to cut it down. And so what it relates to is, in a general population of people in Australia, when we see someone who is bigger than, you know, the norm and stuff like that, we actually feel like we need to cut them down. And so we have this culture of bringing down famous people and that sort of stuff. And a big part of that is with influencer culture. If we see someone at a cafe taking photos of all the food and stuff like that, they actually get silently judged quite heavy, because people are like, oh, okay, you're important, you're a big deal, you're taking photos of your food. And I think I've accidentally become part of that, where I've been like, I actually find it quite annoying when people are taking photos of their food and stuff like that at places, if I'm really honest. But that as well has extended into lots of things. I don't really like people who overly take photos of things in general. If I'm at a music festival and there's just people spending the whole time going with their phones and stuff like that, there's just a part of me which is like, you're experiencing life through the other end, through a fucking screen, you know. Use your eyes to look at the fucking DJ or whatever, try and experience life that way. But I think if that type of place existed in Melbourne, and especially in a popular area like, say, Carlton or
Sorry,
that's
sorry.
right.
There was just a bee at the kids' room.
Say if it existed in a popular area like Carlton or St Kilda or Richmond, or there's some more trendy type places, people would even then be like, "What's going on?" So very, very different worlds. You've got to come to Australia.
Yes, definitely. But it's funny that you say that because it's very German too. That, that's why we don't have stars in entertainment. We have only German stars getting. If you are in Hollywood or some other places and you are famous there, it doesn't mean that you're famous or like very well known in Germany. It's like there's this, I don't know, it's a lot of neid, we say in German. I don't know the English word. It's when your neighbor has more than you, you don't say, wow, cool guy, he's doing a lot. You're this, I don't like him because he
Yeah,
has so much.
it's the same thing as tall poppy syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we are very good at that too. It's and I don't know if this is changing or not because this is a very old thing, in Germany, for older, and but I think this is yeah, it's it's yeah. Now we're getting really into politics again because
Maybe that can be our show, our influencer show, Melbourne versus Berlin, and it's just you go to a cafe and we have to basically have the same script of questions, and it's a big list, and I answer, and then you say, I go, in Melbourne we do this, this, and that, and then you go, in Berlin we do this, this, and that, and we just go back and forth. And a proof of this concept is this thing called Snack Wars, where they have this American guy and an English guy order McDonald's at, he's in London and the dude's in, I think, LA, and he's a very boisterous American dude and he's loud and annoying, and the English guy is proper, well-spoken, douchey, that type of thing. Now, we don't have to, exaggerate Australian and German, but, we can just do that on a basic level, being like, this is what a breakfast place looks like. And you can be like, as you can see, there are a bunch of people taking photos of the meal. And I'm like, and as you can see, people aren't liking the fact that I'm filming them and filming here. That can be our...
Definitely, there's something in it. Let's really know, and Joe, because it's like the last time I was thinking, with AI and stuff, it's what you did is exactly the right way, and maybe we just have to keep on thinking a little bit and get a working paper out, and this is not what we do now on public for the podcast,
I know, yeah.
but to get this really, I bet we get this flying. And now I have to quote my dear Russian/German editor, head of post-production genius guy I worked with. He said, because there was this one time I was long working for a creative agency, and they came to us because I built up the film production in-house at this agency, and they said, this TikTok videos, we need to do something with TikTok, strategy and then the strategic people, and we were talking about this internally with my people inside my film production, and he just said, Jan, we can now make a meeting for 2 or 3 hours. We write everything down and then we start producing for half a day. So we talk about a day of us. In the meantime, the real TikToker just did it and they broadcasted it out already. So I think we are at that point already because we do have ideas which are solid, good ideas. We're talking about a target group, blah, 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 and all that. We can put this all together and then we have our metrics. And at the end of the day, we know exactly, like you said, maybe it's just this breakfast thing, and, I can go in a breakfast place. Let's go there and, let's start that, and, because it is, we just have to do it. And then we just need to roll out and have the only thing, and this comes out from TV and from business. Your idea has to be good to roll it out and to have, you have to, it has to be repeatable for yourself.
Yeah.
If you have if there's an end you run to, you're not rolling out. So it has to be an open field what we do, and that's breakfast, food, um, health. It's all in that genre already, and all we need basically are, I don't know how many places we need, but randomly, boom, 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 and let's do this. you
Totally.
know
Yeah.
and then we can even play, like you said, I'm recording the people who are recording the food,
Yeah.
so maybe these people don't want to be recorded,
Yeah.
and it would be so funny to say, why you are recording and I'm recording you doing this, and they say, no, you're violating my rights of blah blah blah, and who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
you know who gives a fuck? Go to court, let's call the cops, and
Yeah.
they have to arrest me. Even better.
Yeah, that's good
Even better.
content. That's so good.
you
I
know
actually should say, as a bit of cross promo, and some news for you. A while ago, uh, using Yarn as a consult, I set up a pitch for a YouTube show, and that had actually not only worked, and I managed to get the guy I pitched it to on board. 6 days from now, we're actually shooting the pilot, and I've got all the funding sorted. We're just sorting out some last details, but I've got the crew and all that sort of stuff, and it's my first ever project as an executive producer. We're not going to say what it is or what I'm up to. I'm sure the audience is going to find out about it very soon, but it's pretty exciting. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this, and so I'm shitting myself, but I'm ready to go. I need to take a risk.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. And the first risk you took already by the different project, the AI channel. Now you need to do this, and you will see once you, even as long as you fail, you
Yeah.
don't do anything wrong. As long as you succeed, you don't do anything wrong. The only time we are doing something wrong is we don't do anything and just keeping entertaining ourselves in our head.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
being wrong, because that sticks in there. And the world has to see it, and it doesn't matter. And I'm not talking about nowadays. I'm just quoting, what's his name, Rodriguez, the director of
Robert Rodriguez.
Robert Rodriguez. He said, every director has bad films inside. They just have to come out. So there's space for the good films,
Yeah.
for the masterpieces, and that's all it takes. It's a very American approach, because when you fail, and then everybody says in Germany, hey, he's just failing. I don't want to talk to him. The American says, wow, he's failing, so he made so many mistakes. He just has to learn out of that, not to do them, to replace or reproduct them again. Reproduce them again. I'm making up English words.
That's okay.
But,
reproduce is a word. Yep.
Okay, and and I bet if we are documenting this on our channel or on our platforms, we will have success. We will definitely have success.
Yeah. What if we got, in addition to all that we've been talking about, we find an American thing that's popular, then talk about it in Melbourne and then Berlin, whether it A, exists, and then B, how it actually translates. And it's like, what does breakfast look like? What does cafes? All that sort of stuff. I'll stop recording. I'll write this down.
Write this down, and it's in my head, because you are poking my memories now, because when I lived in the end of the 90s in New York, there was no fucking mobile phones making pictures and all that. Not about this stuff. Back in the end of 90s in New York, when you go out there were so many stores, like small stores, usually owned by Chinese or Indian people, like
Yeah. Immigrant.
immigration
Yeah.
background, immigrant, making American breakfast, and I'm talking only bagels and coffee.
Yeah.
Takeout. Huge thing.
Yeah. Massive.
Huge,
Yeah.
huge, huge thing. massive, because the New Yorker guy thinks, if it's by himself or with a partner together in the apartment. Back then, it didn't make sense to go in the department store or supermarket to buy all that, to do this by themselves in the morning and get ready for work. What the New Yorker did, and I think still does, is waking up, take a shower, leave, and on the way to the office or to work, you get the bagel place, you get the coffee. That's why they have this little cards, with mobile coffee and stuff like that. And
Totally,
this
yeah.
is, this is it. And this what we have. It is already the American. What you just said, Joe, is it's breakfast,
Yeah.
because this is changing. It's changing, especially in Germany. In Germany, we say, eat breakfast like a king, eat lunch like a worker, and eat dinner like a poor man. Then
Really?
this
I've
is the
never heard
health.
this.
Really?
No, never.
Yeah, it's really because this is the healthy way of eating, because at the beginning in the morning you need something very which brings you over the day, and then at midday you need just something not so big anymore, because you have only half day left of your work, and at the end of the day you eat something really not heavy, put it this
Hmm,
way,
hmm.
and small portions, so you sleep better, because the digestion of this helps you much better to wake up and have a good sleep for the next morning.
Right.
This, and I think this is. I mean, it's not working for places like down south where they eat at 10 p.m. at lunch, and with potatoes and everything, but they have a different schedule, I would say.
Yeah.
But I think this copes what we do right now. It's like breakfast. Let's go for it. Let's think about it and just have something written. And in 2 weeks, we are out there on our stage, because this is then really live. If we are with our fucking mobiles out there, going to the breakfast club, no, not talking beforehand to the owner, hey, can I shoot here, and blah blah blah. No, we just go out there, and then when they say what you're doing, we say, okay, yeah, I'm the influencer for breakfast, and there's a live stream with the Australian. Do you see this dude here? And here, this is Joe, and we are promoting breakfast in Berlin and Melbourne.
Yeah.
What they want to say. I
My
call the
brain is
police.
actually going crazy. I can think of so many ideas. We're going to have to talk off air. Um,
Go
but
ahead, go ahead.
I'll tell you as well, the current idea that I'm working on with the new AI channel, it's become so automated in its editing that I can listen to music in the background whilst editing it.
Crazy.
Which is so crazy because you can't do that when you edit because there's audio. But I
Yeah,
know the audio's good because of how I've gotten it.
crazy. You see, and you see, my brain starts, because this is why I can't talk straight anymore.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
there are so many ideas. There's so many. There's so much in there. And nowadays we have the opportunity just to go.
yeah,
Let's try it. You and me be the new American way of life.
yep.
you know and be fancy, like I said, I have the bucket hat from my dad, who bought the bucket hat in British bucket hat. It's like, if I wear this bucket hat now, I'm sweating like hell underneath, because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like this very thick British. I don't know the word, the material. It doesn't matter,
Yeah, I know
but
what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
it's like little stuff. The bucket hat is like styly miley, and then I have my I sent
I'll
you
wear
by
this.
mail. Sorry.
I'll wear this.
Yeah, and every time, and there's a little side. We have a little sidekick. It's it's the Jutebeutel. The bag out of
Oh,
this.
yes, yes. Yeah.
It's the Jutebeutel, the Berlin Jutebeutel. Don't get, I'm not lying. It was 2019 where the Jutebeutel got elected to be the it bag. And
Wow.
usually the it bag is a bag. I know this from my wife because she said it bags are like, yeah, a couple thousand euros and stuff like that. And then, because I made the joke, I did the whole Christmas campaign for Otto. This is the German Amazon.
Uh-huh.
And I had because I was the film producer inside the agency again. So the agency was my client and the client of the agency was my client on that day. And I had only women there, except of one guy from the agency. So I made the thought, I bought them these thing for, when you put your here this
Concealer.
yes, and there's like the German one woman who's just natural thing, and you put this on and you look just fantastic. I bought that, and I bought the it bag, the
Nice.
Jutebeutel, and I just wrote on the Jutebeutel myself it, you know, and I put this
It's
inside.
very off-white, if you know that
Yes,
brand. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. And usually in commercial the film producer always gives on the very first shooting day or sometimes on the traveling arrival day in the hotel. There's always a little present. Just be nice to them. And this was my present. The girls were laughing. They were falling off their chairs, of course, because they said, "This is so cool, Jan. It's like the it bag, It's an it bag. And let's play with these little things. And that's all it needs. That's all it takes. When we have an it bag, and we have a white it bag, you know, and let's get for example, the signature of the places where we are. So the it bag
Oh,
glows.
okay. Yes. I've also seen this where there was a reality TV star in Australia who went to, it's called the Logies. That's our Oscars. So the
Okay.
gold Logie goes to the top media personality in Australia. And it's happened like a month ago. So I'm going to go for it in 2024. I'm not even on broadcast TV. So you have to be on that to get it. But Joe is going for the gold Logie in 2024. I'm going to get it.
Yeah,
Let's campaign
that's
for it.
our aim. That's our aim. And you are the let's. You have a German face. Let's try to do this. And you know what? Are you keeping recording?
Yeah, I'm still going. We've been going the whole
Okay.
time. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because just if you are thinking, oh God, I can't get that out because there are so many ideas, you just beep all the ideas, all the words. Yeah,
we,
this is how it is. If you want to create the new business, and this business is like will put Mr. Beast in like the little thing, what we're talking about, going for the Lola. No, what's your Oscar?
Logie.
Logie.
Logie. Logie.
Logie. Let's go for the Australian Logie and for the. Do we have this in Germany? Yeah, but it's like so unimportant, and I forgot the name. We have that too.
Yeah, I don't
But
think many Australians love like the Logies or anything like that. It's very traditional analog media, and for what we do and what we're interested in, it's not that big of a deal. But I think it would be really funny if someone like me, coming from a digital side who just does media experiments and a podcast, if I can eventually get onto TV, fuck around, and get a gold Logie. Wouldn't that be so good for people my age? Like,
absolutely, this and now it's in Germany. We have the Grimme Preis, and Grimme is like it's very. If you get the Grimme Preis, you are fucking really smart, intelligent media person.
you won that,
And
didn't you?
I
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
every year. And no, but let's aim for that because it's not anymore like that, but it's if we just get announced, that's all it takes. It's like if you announce to get announced for the Oscars, that's already good if you're not American. For a
Yeah.
foreigner, if you get and that's basically with the Grimme. Let's try to have those aims. Let's put them into our thoughts and in our business plan, and let's make our breakfast idea, and let's go for it. And let's put some brain a little bit more in there, and
Hell
then
yeah.
Let's find then, but not too much.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think being influencer doesn't need so much brain power, and it
More
goes
than you think. More than you
alongside.
think. You need a lot of brain power to be an influencer.
Yeah, but I think the brain power at the beginning is if the brain power keeps you off recording because you say I'm not there, finally it's not so perfect, this is what we have to get rid of. It is basically the idea like the Americans when you sell engineer products, technology, throw it out. The first product, the first model of the
Yep.
product has to be 70% ready, because the rest, the other 30% will take, the market will tell you what to do. In Germany we are usually over engineering, we are putting on it, and before we go out with the product, America is always running first and bypass us because we're taking too long to get out of it.
And do you know what I heard? This is in terms of the way of thinking and the engineering. We have a family friend who is a radiologist, which is a type of doctor that works with X-rays, and
Yeah,
this comes to MRI machines,
yeah,
which they're very, very expensive, multi-million-dollar things to produce. And this guy would often work with a German company that made MRI machines. And when they would break down, that is a big problem. It's a multi-million-dollar asset that needs to be fixed quickly, because
yeah,
MRI machines can discover cancers and all sorts of other stuff. And
yeah,
so they call up the German company, and then the German company apparently doesn't give much support, supposedly. And this is what this guy said. And then he eventually decided, when he opened up the new practice, that he was going to go to an American company that produces MRI machines. And the American mindset is, we want to make money, you want to make money, and we make money when you make money. We're going to do everything we can to help you make money, because then we make money. That means best support, best this, best that. The German mindset for this company was, we just want to create an excellent product and sell it to you. There it
yeah,
is, done. Transaction,
yeah,
that's it. But the American
yeah,
thing is, we're making money. Like,
yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly. And that's exactly the point, and plus the Germans are so stupid, and they say, yeah, I understand you, yeah, and you can make a business, but we don't. And then you are stuck there as a doctor, because you say, I fucking bought your multi-million shit, and
yeah,
you guys don't help me. Yeah, so that's your problem, not my problem.
yeah.
And this is the mindset which has to change a lot over here in Germany. And I don't know how. I think it's not. And before I coming very political again, it's this is what we see on every little layer in society. And when you're talking about Ukraine, it's like, because the Germans don't want to be leader anymore, and this is what so many Germans don't understand. It's like, at the beginning of the war, our Minister of Foreign Affairs said, we help the Ukraine, we sent helmets.
Yeah.
And getting bombed, from the Russians, and we sending helmets, and then they had to change, and then they said, oh yeah, we have to be better, and and help them quicker, and don't talk so much, just do it. And this is the thing.
That is so
Again,
interesting to hear, just because Germany is the fourth biggest economy in the world. Do they not want to be that? Like, is that not a good thing?
no,
Okay.
no. It is, and it's just the thing is, this is how Germans work. And then I stopped, or are a lot, and especially politicians, is, in Kreuzberg and Neukölln,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very left-wing green people area. Very a lot of people with migration background,
Yep.
a lot of tourists coming there, low-key people in,
Cheap rent.
cheap, used to be cheap rent, but the thing is, they said they get angry because there's so many tourists with the when you pull your luggage, the sound, da-ding, 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 da-ding. This was annoying for them, for the people who live there, and the politicians said in that area, we think the industry has to change the wheels because they are too loud. And then the industry said, we don't have to change. They are out, but they cost more. And then they said, yeah, then you have to bring the prices down because it's too loud.
Wow.
And then this is how they think. And this is instead this is just a mindset, and this is always, that's our chancellor now, he's not a leader, and that's why we have, everybody's just doing their little shit, and it doesn't fit together anymore. That's a big problem, and we see this in Europe, but this is all again politics now.
What a wild podcast.
Yeah, today it's really wild, really wild.
I'm going to have to do so much editing because even before your kids would come on screen, they would appear in your reflection that's to the side. So I'm also going to have to blur that out. Oh, Christ. Like half of it's going to...
AI.
It's not that good.
So let's see, and let's see how they look. Don't waste too much money. If you distort them like that, it's fine, as long as you can't really tell what's going on. For me, it's nice. It's okay.
Maybe I'll just lie and say, oh no, the camera's broke and we've just got audio this time, and and I just find good pictures of us and just put them up.
Yeah, let's see. But
that's a thing.
no, anyways,
we've been going for a while.
Yeah, it's now an hour and 10 minutes, and
something like that.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, let's go back. We kind of lost a little our topic.
Very.
So, how to become an influencer? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there. Maybe we don't have a conclusion yet. Because there's not one way how to become a big influencer or a well-known influencer on topics. I think there are multiple ways.
Yep. And Jan, I want you to try stand up once, do 5 minutes, just to have that experience, because it's actually going to eat at you more that you don't do it than the fear of actually doing it. Like, does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, so you should absolutely do it.
Absolutely.
Type 5.
Yeah, and I think just and I don't want to have a fake character talking about something. It's just I have to be in my set. What I'm telling is I just have to find the topics, and then I have to write it down, and then even maybe I should I mean, I don't have to say, even in a German stand-up comedy show, it doesn't matter. I don't have to talk German. I can speak English, so I can speak different topics too.
Yeah.
And and maybe it's I have to think about it.
I can imagine because you could come up with a joke in German and then say it in English, but it may not sound the same. But it's not just the words that you say; it's the rhythm. It's how you say it, and its structure in German may not apply very well in English, and then you're like, oh, this actually doesn't become funny anymore, or something that's funny in German culture isn't funny in English speaking culture, and that's the thing. But you'll figure it out. You've managed to. Here's something that you can talk about: the fact that you can talk about language barriers, and how when we were at work, you were talking about this new thing you were taking to help with your digestion and your intestines, but instead of intestines, you kept on saying testicles. And so you were like, I'm drinking this thing in my testicles, and you're speaking to two women and they're like looking at you funny. And then one of them just goes, do you mean intestines? It's like, what was I saying? Yeah.
True. And is there one question? Do you know if there's I'm too close to the camera again. Is there an online platform for comedy Twitter? Not Twitter.
Oh, like group chats and Facebook groups and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but just for let's put it even narrow, for newcomer like me to try it out, but just on online, because maybe this is online the stage nowadays, and I don't need to go out to really sit. Maybe that's the next step, but and then the people can vote to say, okay, this newcomer, she is good, blah blah blah, and then they can vote,
No,
and she gets then if
don't
you
do
have
that.
like
Don't do
10
that. No,
Sorry?
just do it. Just go on stage. Don't do that
Yeah.
shit. Just go on stage, because doing it online like this, you don't have the audience, you don't have the feedback, you can't read the room. You just have to go on stage and do it. And it's like you can do 10 bicep curls, but you're not going to have Arnie arms. You're going to have to keep doing bicep curls, and eventually they'll get bigger. Yeah, just have to keep working it and keep doing it. That's if you want to do stand up, but just try it once. Like,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I have to now become a stand-up comedian and an influencer.
hell yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Next week, I'm done.
Yep. Forever. Done. Quit. Over.
Forever, yeah, of course. I mean, if and then just because about this Oliver Anthony thing, it is true that he got really an offer of $8 million by the industry, and he turned it down.
Wow.
Yeah, imagine. But just because it was like after a week or 10 days or something like that.
Is he arrogant? Like, why would he do that?
Some say that he is. It's planned by the Conservative Party.
Okay.
Because of the election soon, and because he's this white conservative guy, blah blah blah, being an ex-factory worker, low class, now a farmer, having depression because it's the white male American who has no hope, no future.
Right.
And this is the thing.
Underdog.
And plus, yeah, yes, exactly. And I mean, he looks like a redneck, from his looks. Sorry to say,
It's okay.
And I bought the song after like 2 days, because I was listening to it and I thought, wow, okay. And then I went to iTunes and I bought it, and then I thought, maybe he's like kind of right-wing conservative, and there is this thing that he's saying there on an island, kids get abused, that he's kind of a QAnon, is that right in English?
QAnon?
QAnon, yeah.
Shit, okay. I don't know enough about this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't worry. But this is all these things going out and there, and and he basically said that in the YouTube clip I saw is he said, it's about diversity and blah blah blah. So I don't know really what kind of person he is, it's but he said, I don't want to be a musician, I don't want to be in the spotlight with the media, that's why I turn it down and I do this by myself. And I mean, this is, sorry, but this is the best thing he can do, because then every song he's putting out for the next 2 months or 3 months will just get bought by everybody, because the people, especially in America, the right-wing people, they just even if he's not one of them, they will use it.
Yeah, manipulate it, and yeah.
Yes, exactly. And if you have 300 million plus Americans, if you have 10% for a person like him buying that shit, he makes a fortune.
Damn. I have to look into this guy. The only singing thing I can think of is that Hawaiian kid who was on American Idol. I think his name is Iam Tongi, and he sang "Monster" by James Blunt, and dude, I was in tears. It was so beautiful. I'll send you an email.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you'd just be like watching it on your phone with your kids watching TV in the background, and you're like, they're like, "Dad, it's Bluey."
That's what I do, but I wear headphones.
Oh yeah.
Usually they watch from 6 to 7. They watch TV, and then we just can do some time for social media. Then.
Good. Anyway, let's wrap it up. I've got stuff to do and run to. We've been going for an hour and a half. At least I've been recording for that long. It's definitely not going to be that long, the podcast. We could have a 20-minute episode. My
fun, very
God.
intense then, with all kinds of good insights, I hope. And
I think so,
let's
yeah.
keep up thinking over the weekend, and let's meet on next week. My kids go back to school, my wife has to go to work, so I have more freedom over here, and we can just randomly get early, because right now um, it's tough because of them, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I get
have to
it.
do something anyways, because my bank account is nearly zero now, so I have to get start working, and I have to get something, and but let's do this with our breakfast idea. Really, let's get. Maybe on Monday or Tuesday, send me a link whenever you can, to get maybe to record another podcast or to talk about this idea, and
Yeah.
then let's go for it.
How about
Let's try
this?
it.
Let's do this as an exercise. I'm going to write down 10 things that I want to see with this breakfast idea. You write down 10 things that you want to see. We'll see if any of them cross over and then build from there.
Yeah, let's
Cool.
go.
Great. Thought
Perfect.
exercises. Anyway, thanks, Jan. It's a pleasure as always. Do we
Thank
need to
you.
talk
No,
off camera
thanks.
about anything? I don't. For a couple seconds,
No,
maybe let's stay on just in case. But
yeah,
anyway,
no, yeah.
thanks,
Thank you so
everyone.
much.
See you around.